And we are live. How's it going, everyone? Josh here with Shane, and today we were going over fantastic lifting gear and where to find it. But before we get into that, let's find out a little bit about Shane. Shane, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your hobbies? What kind of stuff are you into?
Well, I'm Shane. I am a coach here in Indy, and I work for Bells of Steel. I work at West Indy Barbell. So if you guys are in Indy, check out West Indy Barbell. It's a great facility, huge. Everyone here is awesome. I used to work for Josh at Dedicated Health, I'm sure a lot of you know. So that's where I started my training journey. I like tattoos. I like to work out. That's pretty much it. I was kidding. I like nature and outdoor stuff, art, and just nerdy stuff. So like, I like the fact that Josh used Fantaxis lifting gear and where to find them. Because I'm pretty sure that's a Harry Potter reference.
Yes.
I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool. So
I
that's
was
a little bit
proud of
about
that
me.
one.
Yeah, that is pretty good words there, bud.
So Shane is the one who, Shane's actually the creative one. So any shirt you've ever seen at Dedicated Health or almost West Indy now that you've liked, or any fun, clever competition names that we've had, pretty much Shane has came up with them. He's the brains behind all that fun stuff. Uh, so you and he mentioned he liked doing outdoorsy stuff. We actually had our first camping trip together last year, which is pretty awesome and very very rainy. But so Shane, how long have you been a coach for?
I think now is about 3 years. Actually, like legitimized 3 years. I think we're going on to now. Yeah, so it's been a blast. It's been a lot of learning. Obviously, you helped me get it started because I was very unsure of myself, and you called it the imposter syndrome. Like I had a lot of knowledge to give to people, and I'm still always learning. I can't just like say I know it all. I don't know a lot. There's a lot I don't know, and I don't know what I don't know. So just gotta keep learning it.
I agree. I mean, the moment you feel like you know everything is the moment you kind of lost the game because you gave up. We got our first viewer. And unfortunately, Facebook does not tell me who this is. But someone misses your face, Shane.
Oh, I miss your face.
Someone, if you don't mind commenting and let me know who this is, I would appreciate it.
It says Facebook
So,
user to us. So
yeah, I don't know why it does this, but there's no way for me to change it. But yeah, if you watch our streams, please, I will post a comment on this later that allows us access to see who it is commenting on things. Oh, it's Michelle Decker. How's it going,
oh, okay,
Michelle? That's
nice.
awesome. Michelle was one of Shane's clients.
Yes, she was awesome. She gifted me the inverse curl that is still now dedicated.
Yes, but soon will make its way over there so Shane can work on his back.
I needs it.
And my brother's on here too. He calls us handsome men.
Oh,
I take a. So, in all fairness, I only look the way I look because I copied Shane. Like, when he left, I was like, someone has to look like Shane around here. Like, has to be. It was a requirement. And Shad here. Yay, Shad's watching. Hey, Shad, how's it doing?
hey, hi Shad.
Tammy's here too. Tammy says she misses you.
I miss Tammy. Which Tammy? Oh, I miss
This
both
would
Tammys.
be. This one's Lambert. Lambert comes
Oh
to all
yeah,
the lives.
of course she
Oh,
does.
Jason. Jason misses
Oh,
us
Miss
too.
Jason for sure. I actually showed him. That's weird.
Yeah, it's he must have gave permission to it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. If you want to see the comments on the right hand side, there's on the screen it will say comments, and you can click there and you can see who's
Oh,
commented.
okay. Yeah, it says private chat.
So comments are at the top.
Oh, nice.
You are you are killing the imposter look. Thank you, I appreciate that. I just need to gain like 20 pounds of pure muscle and sex appeal, and then I'll be a good replacement Shane.
uh, I don't know about sex appeal. 20 pounds, not muscle either. There's a lot of belly here.
Oh, this shirt? Is this what you're talking about? The Hydra one? Or the like 90s looking one, Kane? Which shirt were you referring to? So if you're talking about the 90s one, or was it 90s?
It's a
Miami Vice
Miami
one.
Vice theme. Yeah, theme.
Yeah, that was Shane's design. He made that. He was the genius who came up with that with Chris Bumstead on the back of it.
I would say that's Chris Bumstead's silhouette on the back. It
It's
was almost
that
John.
is Almost, but we didn't have a good enough pose. It was the pose that made the difference.
Yeah. I think it was
It's
an executive decision across the board. Thanks, Kane.
Miami Vice. Yes, it's good. It's good stuff. He always comes up with the good stuff. Always. So while we're here letting people join in before we get into the main event of Fantastic Lifting Gear and where to find it, tell us a little bit about your lifting journey. Like, have you always been big on lifting gear? I know you're into powerlifting now. Does it powerlifting kind of get you into that? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I used to use like one of those weird Velcro belts back in the day, and they still have a purpose. But now I've gone to more of a regular old loop belt. I like those. A lot of people like the lever belts. I'm not a big lever belt fan. I have too much flub. The flub gets pinched and it's uncomfy. So I do the belt. I have one here that I've been using for 3 years now. Cerberus brand. There it is. It's a nice belt,
Cerberus.
solid. David has one too. Cody's client, David Harkness. Cerberus is a good company. They do a lot of strongman stuff. That belt has held up for 3 years, and it has a lot of notches on there. So it's gone through my weight loss and weight gain journey, and weight loss again and weight gain again. So it's done really well.
Have you always been focused more on like the strength side of things, or have you kind of like, what was your fitness journey like? Where did you go from to?
Okay, so when I started out, obviously in sports in high school, just a little here and there. My grandmother bought me a little weight set when I was probably 13, 14. Because I was 13, I was still a little chunky, growing in the growth spurt. Played football. It didn't come up until probably junior year when I got really into it due to an injury in football, and I just got really big. I wanted to strengthen my shoulders, so I started shrugs, which that's not really going to do shoulders, but I just did a lot of upper body stuff. Um, and I didn't really focus on my back too much or legs because I kind of had a little bit of back pain in high school with the poor techniques that weren't really covered in sports. So that's one of the things I like to give people better techniques. I don't want them to hurt themselves. Don't lift anyways. And then I got into the military, trained military style stuff. So circuit training, hit training, stuff like that, more full body stuff. And then came out of it for a little bit around 2016, had like a 2-year hiatus from the gym. I got a little chunky, a little chonk. And then I got back into the gym when I came back to Terre Haute. And it took me a journey to get back because I was a little older, 28, and I couldn't really gain weight or gain muscle like I used to and trim down. So I met my buddy Gabe and Derek Jenkins. I'm still really close with both of them. They're awesome gentlemen, and they introduced me into powerlifting. That's when I started discovering like wrist wraps, elbow sleeves, knee wraps, belts, and mouthpieces, everything I can to use to help strengthen my sport and stay safe.
Awesome.
And then
Awesome.
last year I did a little bit of bodybuilding. So I went into the bodybuilding journeys for about a year and missed powerlifting so much I got back into it.
I mean, it's hard to go from it's not even really arguably, but the most fun version of lifting to literally the least fun version of lifting. Because bodybuilding, you're just miserable the whole time and you're just obsessed with how you look. And then powerlifting, it's very numeric.
Well, it is, but powerlifting, you get pretty miserable with it too because it's pretty taxing on the body. It hits your joints pretty hard. I always tell people with powerlifting, you're going to be more joint achy. Bodybuilding, you're going to be more muscle achy. With the repetition, the hypertrophy training that you'll do, your muscles are going to be really tender and sore. Bodybuilding, powerlifting, I don't really get sore as much with my muscles anyways. And I guess my coach is probably like, you're not training hard enough, but sorry, Brad. But yeah,
Brad's not
I
watching. It's fine.
hard, try to.
I mean, I've seen you lift. Like, you do lift mini semis on a regular basis. So
There's that one fire truck pull with Dylan Carter.
we still have that video somewhere. I need to get that back out because that was a good time. I really want to do that again. And I think we know someone who can get an actual semi this time, so we might try.
Oh yeah. Oh, David.
Exactly. That's who I'm talking about. David Harkins could definitely get us a semi. Pull one of those. He's training for a strongman right now, so I'll just say I need it for him to practice, and then just conveniently have an event.
Oh yeah, Dave would definitely be down for that. Dave was a cool dude.
Well, with all that in mind, since you've gone through the whole gambit of from bodybuilding, powerlifting, all those different things, what's some gear that you would recommend for people?
So it really varies on the sport and your goals, like what you're trying to do, and not to use the gear as like crutch, not to use it to like my back really hurts, so I'm going to use a belt to do that. Like obviously, it's going to help with injuries, but what you need to do is strengthen your core, and belts can help. There's some belts that do help you with your breathing and stuff too. So um, there's like people who are doing more bodybuilding style, you want to have like a knee sleeve, knee wrap, depending on what type of weight you're moving. Obviously, some bodybuilders do a lot of powerlifting movements, the big three, squat, bench, deadlift. A lot of them just do a lot of focus on the hypertrophy side of things. For me, example, my competitions, I use Inzer sleeves. These are approved by IPF, I believe, anyways.
Those are
These
thick
are really
boys.
thick. Where's the camera? There it is. Really thick boys. They stand up on their own. No hands. It's magic. But yeah, I keep losing the camera. Yeah, so these I use for my knees. They're long. I try to get most of the fabric on my quad and the rest below my knee. So my knee sits right around here somewhere. I use wrist wraps. I started off with Elite FTS Enforcers. These are wrist wraps. They've held up for 3 years. I still use them occasionally. The Velcro is kind of wearing off a bit on them, so I don't use them as much. I've since switched to the Iron Rebel wrist wraps. I use these a lot too. These are nice, thick, not too thick. There's really thick ones that don't give much elasticity, and then there's very elastic ones. So it just depends on how long you want and how short you want for a wrap. Um, which brand? What brand are you talking about, bud?
I believe for the wrist straps.
The wrist wraps. So um, I'm going to show you around the room a bit too, because I'm in the swag shop here in West Indy. We have a lot of the Bells of Steel stuff here. And then some West Indy stuff.
Oh, the knees were Inzer was the name of the knees.
And there's some other Bells of Steel knee sleeves there too. I'll pull up. And then some wraps and stuff down there. Camera's a little shaky, sorry.
The Bells of Steel knee sleeves are actually really nice. I do like them. Their size is a little weird, but other than that, they are very nice.
Yeah, so these are
But
the Bells of Steel knee sleeves. These are really nice too. I like these for not my main movements, not my big heavy lifts, but these are nice and comfy for this regular old lifting. These are the Inzer sleeves. These are what you were asking about. The new ones that came out. I think they're like $180 or something. Not quite sure.
they're almost like knee wraps. They're so tight. They're very. They'll add a little bit to your lift for sure.
So these are about $180, and they're approved to powerlift in at competitions. And these are Bells of Steel, the Hydra brand, Hydra font. These are really cool looking, and they're not as thick. Obviously, they can't stay on their own. There's two of them here, so that's why they can kind of stay on their own. But they have a little bit more give in them. These are $30 here at the shop. So yeah, there's elbow sleeves. I don't wear elbow sleeves anymore. I feel like I don't use them just because I don't want that help. I want my elbows to kind of feel the pain a bit, so I don't use those. A lot of people do use elbow sleeves for other things, for their bench movements, but it's not approved in powerlifting, so I don't use those in my competitions. And then I would strongly recommend a mouthpiece. This is New Age, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've had this for a while. I need to get a new one. But these are the Punisher ones. They have a lot of Marvel stuff, so I do those a lot too.
That's a good question. I actually don't know the answer to that one. How do you knee sleeves in general? How do you size a knee sleeve?
Each brand will give you like a sizing chart, and you got to measure it that way. Sometimes we'll do like the side, the measure of your calf, the up part of your calf, and the knee, and then the quad. But these bad boys are they XLs? I think they're either 2X. These are 2XLs. Let me pull it down for you here. These are 2XL.
Well, I mean, if anyone's ever seen Shane's legs, you understand. Mostly his hamstring. He's like got the best hamstrings I've ever seen. So that makes sense. So normally it's the circumference of like. So I've never bought Inzer for first and foremost, but if you go to their website, they'll tell you like what to measure. But whenever I bought the Gym Reaper ones, they wanted you to measure like mid calf and mid quad, and that was how you picked your sizing. I don't know, and that's the only knee sleeves I ever bought, so I don't know if it's different from other companies or not. And do you have a size chart? I wear A7s, 4XLs, but need a new pair," said Shad. I can find one.
Shad, I think you would probably have to get, if Inter has like a 5XL, they fit tight. And they're thick too, so they don't have the give like some of the knee sleeves do. So like I have SVD knee sleeves I wear too I wore them for my last competition. I like those a lot because they compress very well and they have give. They're really tight on my knees, but they're not like stiff.
So
we'll be doing a wrapped meet. July I'd be doing sleeve meet, so I'm gonna use my Inzers, maybe my SPDs. I haven't decided yet because I like my SPDs a lot. They feel good. The Inzers make the back of your knees feel a little pinch. I actually think I need to go down a size in these Inzers. The 2XLs are a little big on my knee, but they're really tight on my calf and my quad. So it's like a lose-lose situation. And I just got a gnarly tattoo on my calf. So putting these sleeves on today was not fun.
You should definitely show off that tattoo because it's pretty badass.
All right. Let's see if I can get good lighting. I can't see. There it is. Bam. Oh.
See, it's so cool. It's like one of the coolest tattoos ever.
Oh, I lost it. This is bad to find.
Sorry. You can see it though. It looked good. It's a really cool tattoo.
Dane Smith, Fountain Square Tattoo.
So, also, let's see here. I'm going to post in this group chat where you can approve to be seen on Facebook. There we go. So I posted that for you. So as far as so Inzer and Bells of Steel, and I mentioned Dream Reaper for as far as brand goes. You also mentioned like as far as wrist wraps goes, like there's some that are more elasticy and there's some that aren't elasticy. What's the difference? Like, why would you want elastic versus not elastic?
A lot of times it's just preference, really. I like a mid wrap for knees and a mid stiff wrap for my elbow or my wrist. Sorry, wrist and knees. If it's too stiff, it's just kind of uncomfortable. So my knee wraps, I think they're called Patriots from Mark Bell. No, they're from Elite FTS. Sorry. They're red. I've had those forever. I need to get new ones. My first ever meet I did in 2019, I did crates, and that's just because I lost all my gear. Didn't know I didn't have any until the meet, so I had to borrow someone else's. So my first meet, I borrowed someone else's knee wraps and elbow wraps, or sorry, wrist wraps, and someone else's belt. And it's actually a girl's belt I wore, a really thin one, a small width one. So yeah, so it just depends on the person. A lot of people like really stiff wraps. Like Derek wears. What ones does he use?
Is his the one with the snake biting a peach?
I don't know if he still has that one. Those are chokers.
Chokers?
If he does have those chokers, those are really tight, and he likes his knees cranked, so he has no rebound. Basically, So when it comes to knee wrap, some people rely more on a rebound out of the hole, as some people rely more so on the stopping power of the weight at the bottom of the pole or hole.
Mhm.
Pole. So I prefer a rebound. So I like light wraps, not too tight, just enough for a firm fit. Mostly more like a tight sleeve on my knees.
Mhm.
For a wrist, you want depends on the person because when you're benching, you want your wrist to be straight like this. So like a fist, like Jason can attest for boxing, you want them nice and stiff in a boxing shape. So I like mine a little mid, so I can do a nice little wrap on it, get around the top part. So I'll just show you how I do it.
Kane, you are right. I do need to catch up on tattoos. I'm very behind on tattoos. All I have is
So
one compared to everyone
with
else's
this,
billion.
I like to put it on this way. I get it really tight right here. Take it over my fist a little bit, come down to where it's just right below my pad on my palm. Wrap it around here, come up again, and then I go straight across. So this is how I do it. So there's not really any bending. Can't really bend. I have a nice firm grip on the bar, and my wrist stays straight. So I have a nice pattern for punching the ceiling when I press up. So this is
Yeah,
what I like.
a lot of people accidentally put it too low, which like defeats the whole purpose of the wrap. You need to make sure that's like up on there it prevents movement.
Yeah. So some people will wrap it like this right below the hand, and it really doesn't do much for you. So it doesn't keep the wrist so straight, like Josh was saying. So you still have a lot of bend there. It does help a little bit, but not enough. So you really want to make sure you get up on the hand a little bit and get that nice fist, nice strong punch. I'm not a very good puncher though,
I mean, you just haven't had enough opportunities. I'm sure you'll get really good at it if you wanted to.
I'm a lover, not a
Uh,
fighter.
oh, that's a really good question. I don't know who asked this question, but Facebook user asked, "When's a good time to start introducing lifting gear?" Um, what do you say?
So for me, uh, really, anyone can use gear, but like I said in the beginning, do not use it as a crutch. Like my back hurts, so I'm going to use this belt. Um, that's all technique and like what you're doing to address it. Gym mom asked. There's a few gym
Oh, it's
moms.
Emily. It's
Ah,
Emily. Hi, Emily. I love you.
there's Mimi. So really it's like so I don't put sleeves on in my squats on my knees until I get a little heavier. So when I get to like 400, I'll start to wear my knee sleeves. Just because I want the knee health, I want to make sure they're strong enough to withstand the weight. Um, my body anyways, and then I put the sleeves on.
I
Really, so like I said, it's for a different. If you're doing bodybuilding, you can still use this gear. It's not just for powerlifting. It's not just for powerlifting at all. So like if you're doing bodybuilding, CrossFit, general fitness, whatever you need to use equipment, you can. But just don't use knee wraps if you're just going to be squatting on the Smith machine or if you're going to be doing leg press. Like I know bodybuilders use it too. So it's really just based on the preference for the individual, really.
I think I think the best thing I could suggest for this, as far as when to start introducing gear, is it's really going to be based on your goal. But knowing Emily, she's very big on strength focused. So I wouldn't start introducing gear into a lifting routine until you're starting to attempt, like, I would say 80%, 85% plus of your one rep max, or anytime you're doing one rep max. Like if you're going out there to demonstrate like strength and you're going all out, like that's when you want to use some assistance. I wouldn't use it for any kind of sub maximal lifts unless you're doing something extremely high volume. Because you want to use it as an aid, like Shane was saying, not necessarily a crutch. So I would only use lifting gear if I'm going for a very intense set, not necessarily the warm up sets. Unless you mean like, and like how long should you lift before you start using lifting gear? And again, that's going to be dependent on your sport. So if you're going for powerlifting, in my opinion, you should probably start introducing lifting gear earlier on because you need to get used to how it feels. What would you say? Like, how long should someone lift before they start incorporating lifting
Like as
gear?
a new person,
Yeah.
uh, I don't know. It took me. Well, I started lifting at like 13, and I didn't start wearing lifting gear until I was probably 28. Like for powerlifting, that's when I really got introduced to all the different gear. And then people refer to me because I had the bag full of gear that ended up getting lost. A gear whore. So I had all different types of equipment. I had different belts. I had different wraps, different sleeves, different knee wraps. I had SBD stuff, Lee FTS. Um, and really, I'm not married to a brand like some people are married to one. I just pick what I get reviews. I see what other people say about it, and then I'll get it. Or I'll ask people in the gym, or ask my coach, Brad Abbott, a good piece of equipment. He recommended the Enzers, so I got the Enzers. Iron Rebel I got too. The wrist wraps, anyways. So yeah.
What would you suggest someone pick up first if they were interested in lifting heavy? What would you be your go to? Like, you should buy this piece of equipment first.
So if you're lifting heavy, I really strongly recommend getting a mouthpiece.
Mouthpiece.
Just because I grind my teeth a lot. I don't. I want to keep my teeth. I already have one chipped tooth. Um, so I don't want to have any more bad teeth. I know there's a while where it was hurting my teeth because I was lifting heavy. I was just clenching a lot. So a mouthpiece is really good. Um, I got the basic necessities. So I got knee sleeves, belt, wrist wraps, and mouthpiece. And then you get your shoes too, like what kind of shoes you want. I wear Vans flats. I do have a Reebok, sorry, a Reebok heel that I use too. Um, so I use that occasionally. I haven't used a heel in a couple of years, so I might get back into heel lifting. Don't know. Wrist wraps too, or knee wraps. So get your knee wraps in if you're going to be a wrap squatter. Right now I'm a sleeve squatter, but I'm going to be doing a wrap squat in October at my October competition. So it's just based on the
Gotcha.
person, really.
I think that's a really good point, actually. The shoes comment. That's something that we talk about all the time that I didn't even think about bringing up. But people don't think of like the shoes you're wearing as part of your gear, but they play a huge role in your lift. So, as a rule of thumb, if you're going to be lifting weights, do not lift in running shoes. Like, it's going to make you very unstable. It's actually extremely risky, and it's hard to get good form. Even a cheap pair of like Walmart knockoff Vans for like $10 are going to be better than a pair of $80 running shoes when it comes to lifting.
A nice
Um,
flat shoe with a sturdy heel or sturdy sole, I would say, would be good.
mhm.
Like I started with I don't even know the brand anymore, but it was like a flat Mister Rogers shoe that I wore when I first started lifting in 2018. Not first started lifting, but when I started getting into powerlifting. And then I got my Vans, and I had J's in my first meet, so I wore some J's for my squat because they had a heel. So then you have your different lifts too. So squat, bench, deadlift. Some people prefer wearing heels for their squats. Some people wearing flats. Some people have those barefoot shoes from Kabuki, Chris Duffin. And then you have deadlift shoes, deadlift socks too. Socks for deadlifting, obviously. And then you have so it just depends what you want. Um, I like squatting, so I've done a heel lift and squats and bench because it helped me get more flat, more push into the ground. So I wore a heel lift for one of my meets. I just played around with what feels best for me and how my movement works. So it's based on the individual as well. With how you lift, everyone lifts differently, so you can't like cookie cut a lift, so you can't cookie cut equipment.
100%. I agree with that. I in especially with heel lifts and stuff like that. Like if you buy a pair of lifts, if you have really poor ankle mobility, lifts are a good way to like get around that. It's not a fix by any means, but it
Mhm.
is a way to like reach depth a little bit easier if you don't have good heel mobility. I personally, I remember when I first started lifting, like I was really big into shoes, so I tried out all of like the Metcons and the the Nanos and all those things. I ended up, because of you and like Derek and all them, I ended up switching to Vans, which I now enjoy a lot better. But as long as you also have to keep in consideration whether you have a wide toe or not. Like I have a very narrow toe, so to me, Vans have a wide toe box. But like Emily just commented, flat sole with wide toe box is very important for her because she wants her toes to be able to spread and you want to be able to grip the ground. But it really does depend on you and how you lift and what you do. So, but basic Metcon lover over here. Yeah, Emily, if there's a Metcon that exists, Emily has owned it. She had cheetah print ones. She had Metcon. I think she had like 3 through 5 or 6 now. It's pretty awesome. But we are reaching our 30-minute mark here. So is there anything else you'd like to say before we hop off here, Shane?
Be smart with your lifts. Be smart with your equipment. Feel what's out there. Ask people questions. Always ask questions. And if someone doesn't want to answer your question, forget them. Ask someone else. In the fitness community, there's a lot of positivity, but you'll also get a lot of negativity. There's a lot of information, and you get a lot of bad information from that information. So just do what feels right, and ask people that you know that are good people, people that are not gonna harm you or have you lift something that's gonna hurt you. Be smart about it, and always ask questions. Always learn. We're always learning. Everything's coming out like. I say for a while, people would squat, not put their knees over their toes. Now this knees over toes guy is telling everyone to put your knees over your toes. So that's like, it's healthy. And then some people still saying, don't do that. So it's really just do what feels right. There's no real information out there that's going to deviate. So just keep track of your things, of your intelligence, of your lifts, and keep lifting and help others too. Don't just get information cute to yourself. Give as much information as you can to everyone, and enjoy the sport. Enjoy yourself.
Okay, awesome. And with that being said, since you are an authority and a trusted person, and I would trust your opinion, what would be the best way to get a hold of you? I'm assuming it's Instagram, but what would you prefer the best way for someone to ask you a question?
Yeah, Instagram. I think it's like _iron_Shaw. Now I changed it. Iron Shaw on Instagram. You can hit the West Indy page too. West Indy Barbell, West Indy Fitness. And then you can ask Josh's pages, Dedicated Health. A lot of people at Dedicated Health still know how to reach me. So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Shane. Thank you so much for everyone who watched this. We'll be live next Tuesday as well. Next Tuesday, actually, the gym mom will be joining me. Emily will be on here. So looking forward to hearing her story. But as always, stay dedicated, and I love you all.